It's the Friday Inside Corner starring Joel Sherman. How's that for an introduction?
I feel better about me already.
Okay, there you go. I'm hyping you up. Good morning to you. Looked at the standings this morning, Joel, and the Mets have a 9.5 game lead in the East. That is tough to overcome at any point in the season. It's, of course, doable, but it's tough. How'd they get here with two of their aces down?
So, yeah, Max Scherzer goes on the injured list on May 19th. He's hurt. He hurts his oblique on the 18th. He joins Jacob deGrom, who hasn't thrown a pitch this year, Tyler McGill, who did such a good job of replacing deGrom. In the rotation, you have three of your key starters out. I think at that point, the Mets would NCAA tournament it, right? How do we survive in advance? They haven't survived in advance. They've thrived. They have the best record in the National League since then. Here, you could see it on this graphic. Since they lost their third starting pitcher, I think it's about a few things, Lauren. To me, value is when do you produce your numbers? I have no idea if Carlos Carrasco can make it through this season at age 35. He hasn't pitched more than 80 innings in 4 years, but he's pitched towards like an ace while these guys have been out. Chris Bassett has pitched towards the top of the rotation. Taijuan Walker has pitched well. So they've been able to stem the tide of problems in the rotation because other guys have handled this and made it comfortable for them to let those other guys heal. And quite frankly, their offense has been spectacular. Do you know they have 7 players who are 1 WAR or better right now? That means it's about a 3 WAR season, which is an above average year. That's the most in the major leagues. You look at a couple of guys, it's hard to decide who the MVP of the Mets is, right? McNeil has played terrific. Lindor has played terrific. Alonso's played terrific. Nimmo, they've gotten so much out of Luis Guillorme, Starling Marte. They've had a lot of production. They hit with runners in scoring position, which they hadn't done in recent years. They field at a higher level than they have in recent years, and they run the bases better. And by the way, their manager is much better than in recent years.
A lot of things going right. And I remember the year the Nats won it all. They kept Scherzer out. He was injured at the time, right, to get him right and have him back when it mattered the most. Perhaps that will be the model for the Mets this year, hopefully sooner rather than later. I read your article in the Post. This can all be outlined there. What can't be ignored, and you point this out beautifully, is what is happening with the rest of the NL East, largely underperformed. I mean, no teams above 500 with the exception of New York.
Yeah, on May 19th, none of the other teams, when Scherzer got hurt, were above 500. None are above 500 now. But I would point to the standings right now. The Braves, as you see here, are 25-27. What was the Braves' record last year after 52 games? 25-27.
Was it really?
Yes. The Mets, after 53 games last year, Fangraphs had them at 76.3% to win the division. That was last year after 53 games. Would you like to know what they have them at this year?
Tell me.
76.3, the exact same thing. And of course, we know the ending to the story last year. The Braves won their 4th straight division title, and they won their first World Series since 1995. So to me, I look at this division, and the only thing that could stop the Mets are the Mets, which happened last year, and the Braves. You're going to need another team in this division to play well. And to me, Atlanta is the key team. You look at a few things. Acuna Jr. is back. He's not playing in the field regularly. I talked to Alex Anthopoulos, their general manager. He's good. He's going to be better, right? Their rotation, their 5th starter, they've gotten a 2-10 record with a 7.77 ERA out of it. They think Spencer Strider, who's done it once, can stabilize it. And they do have some injured, especially pitchers. Matzik, who was so important to that bullpen last year, he should be back by the All-Star game. Kirby Yates, once one of the better closers in baseball. He was a low-radar signing. He's about back by the All-Star break. And Mike Soroka, can he get back from double Achilles surgery? He's also due. If they could fix that pitching as it goes along and Acuna rises up, maybe they can get through this.
Matzik closed out the CS, that moment forever ingrained in my mind. You showed me the standings, and you were talking about the Braves. My eye went to the Phillies, and so often when a team is underperforming, you look at the front office or the manager. It's not just one thing, right? It's roster construction, it's performance. What jumps out at you?
Yeah, they've chased it. Credit to their ownership. They want to win. They have a record payroll this year. But to me, by chasing it, they've created this Frankenstein's monster.
What do you mean?
They had a problem, and they doubled down on the problem because of what was available. They did Schwarber and Castellanos. Well, they were a bad defensive team to start with. To me, just because they're available, this isn't like the draft, Lauren. Like in the draft, you take the best player available. when you're putting together a team, you got to say, what are we deficient at? Look at how bad this defense is, made worse by the fact that Bryce Harper, because of his elbow, who knows if he ever plays the outfield again this season. You have to put Nick Castellanos out in the outfield. He's just not a good outfielder. Should they have saved some of the money for a rainy day? I'm not saying don't spend it, but should they have saved it for a rainy day to try to fix this? I know Joe Girardi's on the hot seat. I realize this is year 3. He hasn't had the impact on that team, say, that Buck Showalter has on the Mets, or Bob Melvin has had in San Diego, or Dusty Baker in Houston. But nothing will make a manager look worse than bad defense and bad bullpen. A manager can't fix it. You only could play the players who are on your roster. And they do not have a good defensive team. They do not have a good bullpen. And quite frankly, at this moment, would you like to guess, as good as we think their offense is going to be, who's leading the Phillies in OPS plus?
I don't know.
Odubel Herrera, who's having a nice year. But the other players, like, their offense is good, but it would have to be spectacular to overcome this other stuff. They've now lost Gene Segura for a long period, maybe the rest of the season. That's why I say it's the Braves or nobody in this division to catch the Mets, because I don't believe that team with its defects can get to, say, 90 to 95 wins.
Wow, Phillies fans hoping that is not the case. New York Post Plus, it's all outlined there. Joel Sherman with the very latest. Thank you so much.